"Get out of that seat. It's not for people like you." Her words cut through the quiet hum of the airplane like a blade. Every head turned. The woman's voice was sharp, confident, dripping with entitlement. The flight attendant froze. The passengers stared, but the calm black woman standing beside her only smiled and said, "Ma'am, I built this airline." White woman snatched black CEO's seat, then turned pale. When she said, "I built this airline." The air inside Flight 702 was thick with quiet luxury. Polished wood panels, soft amber lights, the faint scent of citrus and money. Passengers whispered about mergers and markets, trading glances of superiority, and then, through the first-class curtain, Ava Coleman stepped in, tall, poised, with eyes that carried storms and grace all at once. Her tailored navy suit didn't scream wealth. It whispered power. The kind earned through sleepless nights and decades of silence turned into success. She walked with calm precision, holding her ticket for Seat 1A, unaware that today, her quiet dignity was about to become a lesson the world would never forget. Seat 1A wasn't empty. A woman, perfectly styled hair, diamond earrings, and an attitude sharp enough to draw blood, was lounging there with her designer heels kicked off and her handbag tossed casually on the next seat. Ava approached with a polite smile. "Excuse me, ma'am. I think there's been a mistake. That's my seat." The woman didn't even look up from her phone. "I doubt it," Ava blinked, still calm. "My ticket says 1A. Finally, the woman raised her eyes. Ice blue, assessing, dismissive. "Honey, I think you've got the wrong section. This is first class. Maybe check back there." She gestured lazily toward economy. A hush fell over the nearby rows. The attendants exchanged glances, unsure. Ava's voice stayed level. "I assure you this is my assigned seat," the woman scoffed. "You people are always trying to sneak up here, aren't you?" Someone in row 2 gasped, and that's when the line came. Quiet, deliberate, deadly honest, Ava said, "Ma'am, I don't sneak onto planes. I own them." The woman blinked. "Excuse me." The flight attendant stepped closer, uneasy. "Let me check both tickets." Ava handed hers over first. Calm, steady hands. The woman followed, her movements jerky now. The attendant's eyes flicked between them, then froze. "Ma'am," she said softly to the white woman, "this seat does belong to Ms. Ava Coleman." The woman frowned, forcing a laugh. "That can't be right. Maybe the system's wrong. You know how these airlines mix things up." But the attendant's expression changed as recognition dawned. "Wait, Ms. Coleman, as in Coleman Aviation," then Ava gave a small nod, and the color drained from the other woman's face. Years ago, Ava hadn't even been allowed near the front. She was the daughter of a mechanic who fixed planes for other people but could never afford to fly in one. At 16, she worked nights cleaning terminals just to watch jets take off. At 19, she was denied an internship because the interviewer said she didn't fit the brand image. At 24, she watched an investor laugh at her business plan, then use her idea to launch his own company. She remembered his words. "You? Build an airline? Stick to being a passenger, sweetheart." So she built one anyway. She studied engineering, business, and design until exhaustion blurred the lines between dream and discipline. She slept on hangar floors, built a prototype app on borrowed Wi-Fi, and pitched Nova Air 37 times before one investor finally said yes. A decade later, she was the youngest airline founder in the country, but Ava never forgot what it felt like to be told to move back, to be told her presence was out of place. Now, years later, she stood on her own aircraft, being told once again to move. The woman in the seat swallowed hard, her arrogance thinning into panic. I didn't realize. You own this?" Ava looked out the window, the sunset catching the edge of her reflection. "No," she said quietly. "I built it." The cabin went silent. Even the hum of the engines seemed to pause. When the flight finally took off, the woman avoided Ava's eyes, pretending to sleep, but guilt sat heavier than turbulence. Meanwhile, Whispers rippled through the first-class cabin. Words like respect, shame, and power. A businessman leaned toward Ava mid-flight. "Ms. Coleman, I just want to say, your work changed the industry. My son dreams of being a pilot because of you." She smiled softly. "Then tell him to never let anyone decide where he belongs." Halfway through the journey, the captain's voice echoed through the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to take a moment to recognize a very special passenger on board, Miss Ava Coleman, the founder and CEO of Nova Air. Thank you for choosing to fly with us tonight." Applause filled the cabin. Passengers craned their necks, smiling, whispering her name, and beside her, the same woman who had once sneered was now staring straight ahead. Pale as the clouds outside, she tried to speak, but Ava didn't look at her. Some lessons don't need an audience. When the plane landed, Ava stood up first. The attendant approached, smiling respectfully. "Miss Coleman, your car is waiting at Gate B." Ava nodded, then turned toward the woman still in 1A. "Enjoy your flight?" The woman's voice cracked. I'm sorry for what I said." Ava's expression was soft but unreadable. "You don't owe me an apology. You owe it to yourself, to be better than what the world taught you to be." She picked up her briefcase and walked away. No anger, no gloating, just grace, because power isn't proven by humiliation. It's proven by restraint. Later that week, a photo leaked online. A blurry shot of Ava standing near her seat with the caption, "When respect flies higher than ego." It went viral overnight, not because of outrage, but because of admiration, and somewhere in the comments, the same woman who had taken her seat wrote anonymously, "I met her once. I was cruel." She responded with kindness. That's how you know who really deserves the front seat. Respect doesn't depend on race, class, or status. It depends on character, but too often, people forget that titles and skin color don't determine worth. Ava Coleman didn't fight to prove she belonged. She simply was. Because when you've built something from nothing, you never need to raise your voice. Your existence speaks louder than prejudice ever could. We live in a world where assumptions fly faster than planes. But this story reminds us, sometimes, the person you underestimate is the one holding the wings that carry you.